month of 2024. A lot of twos out there. Most important one right here. So this is where we are starting off our Thursday evening edition for right now. If you haven't heard, again, for the last couple of days, some increasing amounts of activity on the sun. Lots of posts from earlier on in regards to the solar flare that happened in about the last 12 hours or so. Some very powerful amounts of energy racing off the sun. This is not the coronal mass ejections you may have heard about. This was an actual flare of energy. Radiation coming from off the sun's surface directed toward our way in the solar system. And this was very important because it did a pretty good job of causing disruptions over the Pacific and the Indian Ocean. But there was not anything going on connected to the outages that you may have had with this thing for today. A lot of folks having getting knocked offline, couldn't make phone calls, things like that. But according to what we know at the News 12 newsroom, that is something that is just something that happened. We'll have more on that coming up on News 12 at 11, but it was not anything having to do with the solar flare. So that, again, is very good news. Glad to hear about that for now, but we'll be watching for more information about that, and we'll talk about more about what's going on with our forecast into the weekend and the fact that we've got some more rain coming through. You may have seen more of those raindrops happening from earlier on, but we do not have much of anything outside of some minor drizzles out across the area. But once again, we'll talk more about that coming up here in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and get started and show you a little bit more about what's going on. 10 degrees above normal today. So this has been an incredibly mild week. No, it is a reminder, it is February, but it is very much way above where we should be. The entire month, minus where we wound up with the snow and ice earlier about 3 or 4 weeks ago, January into February, about that time, that has been about as cold as it has been for quite some time. Very close to normal on the low temperatures, and so far we'll wait for the update coming up at midnight is where we usually see this number updated. And as of right now, we have not reported anything at the Chattanooga airport, so we do not have any rain to tell you about, at least at this time. We're not seeing anything on the camera screens really at this time. Island Cove, clouds breaking up by just a little bit, but we're not seeing anything in the way of heavy rainfall with these showers coming on through. More activity coming up later on. Downtown Chattanooga, again, a few raindrops on the camera lens of the Bailey's Heating and Air camera, but very quiet. Decent visibility all the way out to Lookout Mountain. Some raindrops on the camera lens right now at Plainview Outdoor Advertising camera. You can see some of those raindrops coming down and some, call them spits and drizzles pretty much. That's about all they're amounting up to at this time. There's been precious little in the way of downpours. You can see a lot of haze and the occasional raindrop coming down in some of the street lights. Signal Mountain off in the distance. I-24 traffic on the Patriot Concrete camera moving along very well for now. From the Chattanooga Red Wolf Stadium, Tomahawk Crane and Rigging camera, you can see a little bit more shine on the roadway surface, so a little bit of rain here, nothing really actively coming down outside of a few drops, and we will see some wet conditions off and on. We'll show you the regional radar here in just a little bit. Chattanooga Theater Center, a lot fewer people out and about this evening because of that inbound rainfall that we have seen, but Speedy's Total Car Care camera not showing a lot on the EPB Fiber Optics WeatherCam network. Chattanooga Zoo Cam looking back toward Erlinger Hospital, and again, some very quiet and dry conditions out this direction. We lost our data with that communications issue, and we're still having issues at this point in time. Apologies, but do not have the data exactly for what is going on immediately at this time. So let's take the next best thing and take the automated system observing systems. Temperatures out there again from the lower 50s to the lower 60s at the Chattanooga airport. So very much on the mild side for tonight. Cold air on the way? Not really, because way back to the north of us, that's where all the cold air is, and doubtful we're going to be seeing too much of that. We will see, I will say again, a little bit of colder air coming down toward this weekend, but honestly, it's not that much, and we'll show you what the temperatures are looking like here coming up in just a little bit. On the satellite radar composite, both satellite and radar active this evening, and around the News 12 viewing area, Chattanooga, right there in the center part of your screen. Scattered light areas of showers off and on, some showers crossing I-59 right at 10:15, and heavier showers exiting the News 12 viewing area going out over parts of northern Georgia. So we see that potential out there for now. We are watching very carefully back to the west of us as we see some very good, stronger lines of thunderstorms shaping up. News 12 viewing area over here, Chattanooga again right in the middle of the screen at this time, so over toward the right-hand side. But the line now reaching Nashville. The bigger the lightning bolt marker, the stronger the flash of lightning has been, so the more power gets into it. And again, seeing an uptick in the amount of energy from these lightning bolts, that's a sign that some of these storms are, or at least sections of this line, are starting to get a little bit more powerful. So we may see this make its way all the way down our direction, right along I-40 west of Nashville, and that again heading our way. Spotty showers here, more potential of thunderstorms as we get into, looks like right now, probably 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. We do not have anything at this time in the way of severe weather. We do not have any watches. We do not have any outlooks for severe weather, so the only thing we're going to be picking up out of this is going to be just generic beneath severe level thunderstorms, and that's going to be about it. So we do not have anything major taking place tonight. Tomorrow, next week, that could be a different story, and we'll talk about that coming up here in just a little while, so stay tuned for more on that. Is again, pleasant temperatures. Things have been very nice throughout the entire day, but for right now, overnight, and this could possibly linger into early tomorrow morning around bus stop time. I think most of the moisture should be confined into around overnight. So I'd say about before about 3 o'clock in the morning, right to our northwest, 2 to 4 o'clock through the News 12 viewing area midsection, and then by, say, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, right before dawn, most of this should be swept on out of here, and we should be done with the rainfall. But the reason we're showing you this is I would not be surprised to hear some rumbles of thunder overnight, but we're still not seeing anything in the way of potential severe weather. So for tonight and for this season, anything from about late January through about early April, that is prime time severe weather around here for this area of the country. This is when February and March are when we get the most tornadoes out of any other months out of the year. So this area of time, again, the early portion of the year, January, April, somewhere in there, that is where we get the best potential of severe weather coming up, and we're not seeing it right now. Yes, there's a lot of lightning, but that is not indicative of severe weather. You have to have either damaging winds, you have to have, again, large hail, and you have to have, again, the potential for tornadoes. Lightning in and of itself does not mean severe. Now, again, when you see big buildups of lightning as severe weather is increasing and the storms are getting stronger, yeah, that may be a marker of some severe weather, but it's not an overall severe weather situation as it is. So that's what we're looking at for right now. Into the rest of the next few hours, that's where we could see the problem. We'll take a look at that potential coming up. This is, again, what we're seeing for right now. The storm itself is way back up over western Pennsylvania. The main energy of this storm, there's the front dropping through now into northwestern Alabama, and we see that line of showers and thunderstorms coming our way. But as we go into tonight and into tomorrow, this is our next weather maker. First storm system here, storm system number 2 here, just making its way over the northern Great Lakes. This will arrive early Saturday morning and give us some colder temperatures. Now, we can't really show it to you because as of right now, It is just almost there. This next storm system, and you're looking at the area up here around portions of northeast Russia, the Bering Sea, the northern Atlantic. This mess here is going to be our storm system coming our direction by next week. This looks like it is going to have a lot more energy to it, and this is why we need to watch well ahead of schedule. So way over the limb, about half a world away, this is where we get into the potential of some more problems next week. That's looking very far ahead. That is not wish casting. There are there's information and forecasts from the National Weather Service, and we'll show you that in a little bit, saying that there's going to be a Category 6, 15 feet of snow blizzard in the next 192 hours. That's a stretch. And for all the websites out there that are a little more bombastic about these type of things, that's the ones to watch out for. And you always really need to be careful of websites like that, because when they talk about blizzards 300 hours out, and then when that forecast arrives and there's not even a flurry, it's very amazing how many of those websites never come out and say, oops, we shouldn't have been so over the top about this. So this, yes, this does have some potential, but we'll be watching that. And again, a lot can change, so keep it tuned to News 12, and we'll let you know more about that. Okay, so for tonight, we see again that front slowly making its way on through. Should be through most of the area by about dawn patrol, but there could be some residual moisture behind that front. And we see again everything gone by tomorrow afternoon. Now, this is not going to be a major cold front in the sense that temperatures will drop. Watch the front here as it goes to the south. It's going to fall apart slowly, but by the time it hits the Ohio River, it becomes that dashed line. And that is a trough, TROF. It's a stretched out area of low pressure. Weakened front, it could be a pre-front to where it develops into a front, depending on conditions, but as it reaches our area early Saturday morning, that is where we're going to see some colder temperatures. Not, again, an Arctic blast, but it is going to be colder. High pressure helping to dive that colder air south, and there is going to be a potential of some precipitation frozen. Again, light amounts of snowfall east and northeast of Chattanooga. Accumulations at this time look negligible, so I doubt we're going to be picking up anything. High pressure does a good job of keeping things very dry and very cool. It's going to be in the 40s, maybe the lower 50s toward about Saturday, and that'll be the best amount of temperatures that we get. Sunday morning, high pressure here again clears things out. Chilly with temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s, and then back in the lower 60s. We bounce back after that dip coming up as we go into Sunday or so. And then not much as we go toward Monday. We should have cloud-sun mixture and temperatures very much on the mild side back into the lower 60s. So that doesn't look too bad. I'm not going to show you the wind gust graphic at this time, the forecast, because there's really little, if anything, to show. We do have the potential of some breezy winds tonight. This will expire at midnight, and this is again in effect for southeastern Monroe County in the eastern News 12 viewing area. All the other wind advisories have been canceled, so it looks like this will be the worst winds out there, and again, only about 40 miles per hour or so. Plus, that's where we see some choppy conditions, but right up against the spine of the Appalachians, Tennessee, North Carolina area, that could be some windy conditions up in the hills and the valleys there. But I think that's going to be the worst of it for tonight. Next week, there are some signs that we could be looking at more wind advisories. We'll keep you updated on that as we go into the rest of the forecast, so stay tuned there. Now, looking well ahead into next week, let's bring up the 7-day forecast here first. Again, clouds and a few raindrops out there over the waters of Lake Chickamauga at Island Cove Marina and Resort on the EPB Fiber Optics WeatherCam network. Here we go into the weekend, and we could see some showers and thunderstorms coming up tomorrow morning, but they should be short-lived. Breezy Friday and Saturday. No wind advisories going past midnight tonight, but it could be kind of breezy out there 20, 30, 35 miles per hour. If the National Weather Service issues any more wind advisories, we'll let you know about that. Cooling off as we go from Friday into Saturday. And then a nice weekend overall. If you got plans for outdoors, a little cooler on Saturday, not bad on Sunday, just above normal here. And then late Monday, we start to see more rain coming up as that next system gets a little bit closer to us. And that is where we may be seeing, again, the possibility of maybe some threats of some stronger weather coming on through. What we're looking for right now, let me borrow this website, which is a very good free one for right now, as we see, again, the potential for, sorry, I had to check a message there. This is wxcharts.com. So going into about Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, now into early Thursday, there looks to be a potential of a pretty good squall line coming through, and this is for midnight Thursday morning. So next Wednesday, early Thursday, this line is the date has gotten a little more focused, because yesterday it was a lumbering band, a large amount of rain and heavier amounts of rainfall coming through. Today it has really been squashed, so it's a lot more focused at this point, to where it moves toward that particular area, toward our area, with that threat of severe weather. But it looks like late Wednesday into early Thursday, that is where we could be seeing the potential problems out there. Now, what we're seeing is, again, rain beginning off and on Monday into Tuesday, and then Wednesday into Thursday, that looks to be the best potential. Heavier areas of rainfall cooling us off, going from the lower 70s Tuesday and Wednesday. Remember, high temperatures at this time of the year, about the mid-upper 50s or so. So 15 degrees above normal, very much on the mild side here. Cooling off to just about normal by the time we hit about Thursday. So that is going to be a big shift in the temperatures, very mild to much cooler coming up here. That is where we see also hopefully some drier conditions as that line that you just saw on wxcharts.com moves out of the picture. Now, this is we don't have any markers on here just yet, because we don't have a forecast from the Storm Prediction Center, which goes to 3 days out, and the experimental forecast a little farther after that. What this means is that as we go into next week, we're going to be watching with a lot of interest to show what is coming our direction. And this is what's called a probabilistic forecast. And what we're going to be seeing from the Storm Prediction Center, and you can get this at their website at spc.noaa.gov if you'd like to take a look at what is being said here. What you're seeing, again, there's two color codes here, 15% chance and a 30+% chance. We're seeing two things here on this for next week. Number one, this is the official forecast, so yes, there is a possibility of severe weather coming up. Number two, this is a fairly widespread forecast map. There's nothing on here saying slight, moderate, high risk, anything like that. That happens when we get a lot closer to the event, within about 24 to 36 hours. Third thing is this. Besides just the probabilistic possibility looking here, we are over here, and the polygon begins over this direction, St. Louis, Little Rock, basically. So it's a good possibility that Wednesday night, again, marker for Wednesday early here, and then the threat moves this direction into Wednesday night. So we'll start off with the storms going well away from us and then moving our direction by next Thursday early morning. Again, this is a week out, give or take a couple of hours worth. So for right now, yeah, there is the potential of severe weather, but for right now, it's so far away that a heads up is good. We're not saying anything about tornadoes. We're not saying anything about flash flooding, heavy, gusty, damaging winds, all that type stuff. What we're just saying right now is there is a potential of some severe weather. So keep it tuned to News 12, and we'll keep you updated on that. Something to throw into your plans just to be on the safe side. So, again, please keep updated with News 12 on all of that. I'd like to thank all of our viewers for sending in some great pictures. And the latest picture, unfortunately, was stuck in my spam folder. Again, apologies for that. But thank you very much, Dave and Melanie Zajac. I hope I'm saying that name correctly. From Rocky Face, Georgia. Their driveway a few weeks ago with some heavier amounts of rainfall going on. And this is very apropos for what we're looking at for tonight with more rainfall coming through. That's our Langley Roofing weather window picture of the day. Again, Dave and Melanie Zajac, hope I'm saying that correctly. Thank you very much. Our email address is always open if you'd like to send in some pictures. So please do so at pictures@wdef.com, or you can send them to us on our Facebook, X, or Instagram pages on the comments section. Again, you can be anonymous, but please give us an idea as to what you were looking at and where. We would love to see more about that going on. For tomorrow, rain, thunder in the morning, then clearing out, breezy, and temperatures back in the mid-60s if you're going to be doing any fishing out there. Likewise, on the golf course, it is going to be mid-60s with early showers. Best to wait toward the rest of the day. Excuse me. We see again that breezy conditions continue into Saturday, so if you have any plans for outdoors, that could be a bit of an issue too. And again, showers in the morning for the students at the bus stop, breezy and mild as the kids head home for Friday, and that should do it for the chances of rain for the weekend. So any outdoor plans, that looks to be pretty good for right now. Let me go ahead and get this in here. I have to thank our new weather sponsor here. I can't say who it is because it's going to be a big reveal coming up next week, but they know who they are, and thank you very much. The latest web poll that we have at wdef.com/vote now, this has been closed. There's another one coming up later tonight at midnight, so stop by again for more on that. But today's question, the largest garbage patch, or what is called a gyre, located in which ocean? Our plastic, all of our plastic on the planet, 9 to 10% of it actually gets recycled. The rest of it goes to landfills, or by wind, or by animal, or by just by countries that dump their plastic with no recycling or landfill policy. A lot of countries dump their plastic right into the rivers, which go into the ocean, and all that plastic builds up in the ocean, breaks down into microplastics, which you and I are eating and is in our bloodstream and is now discovered to be in the air. This is all very bad news and a very incredibly huge good reason why we need to take care of our planet so we're not eating our own plastic. Just something to think about there. So for right now, again, the question, which ocean has the largest garbage patch or gyre? The Arctic, the Indian, the Pacific, or the Atlantic? 77% of you said the Pacific, and you are correct. How big is that garbage gyre? Well, stay tuned because we'll have a future question about that coming up a little bit later on. So stay tuned for more with News 12 on there, and we'll talk about a lot more than just weather. There's a lot of science, there's a lot of chemistry, there's a lot of all kinds of unique and interesting things out there. Barnard Astronomical Society will have more star parties coming up this Sunday, February 25th. Gates will open at 5:30 for the latest star party at the UTC Clarence T. Jones Observatory. The constellation topic and lecture will be on Orion. Hopefully it'll be clear. Looks pretty good for Sunday right now, so telescope viewing will be going on until 8. This is at 10 North Tuxedo Avenue in Chattanooga. More information on their Facebook page at facebook.com/UTC Jones Observatory if you'd like to know more. Would also like to point out at this time, again, this is a very important hobby, and it is not a dying hobby. I beg to differ on that. Southeast of Chattanooga, Dalton, Georgia. This weekend, the Dalton Amateur Radio Club will be holding their first and best Ham Fest in Georgia at the North Georgia Fairgrounds, 500 Legion Avenue. This coming, let's see, that's wrong. That should be, I got to double check that. That should be Saturday, the 24th. I think I got the date wrong on that. Okay. Pardon me on that. The UTC Clarence T. Jones Observatory, Sunday the 25th, the Hamfest. It's been a very long day and a long week. Apologies for the confusion. So Saturday the 24th. Been hard to pronounce words today, too. It's just very much on the tiring side. This Saturday the 24th, Dalton Amateur Radio Club, qrz.com/db/w4drc. Hamfest is where local hams get together to talk about the hobby. It's also a place where they buy and trade and swap equipment. There's testing for the FCC amateur radio license. And if you'd like to know more about this, please go to their website to find out more. And of course, we'll have more coming up through the next couple of days about this. I'm schedule permitting and some sickness going around at House Onek. I'm going to try to get down here for some of this on Saturday late morning or so. So I hope to be able to go down and meet a bunch of people and talk and see what's going on, and congratulate everybody for holding stuff like this. So if you'd like to know more about amateur radio, please drop by their website and again find out more details. The catchphrase may sound like a silly catchphrase, but when all else fails, amateur radio works. I've met many people who said, amateur radio, why do I need that? If there's a terrorist attack or an earthquake, I'm just going to pick up my phone and order a pizza. There's no use having stuff like this out there. Well, there's no guarantee if a natural disaster, earthquake, widespread, major severe weather, a solar storm like what we just saw, God forbid, another terrorist attack coming on through, that is something that you may not be able to pick up your phone and order food and get it there in 30 minutes. Really something to think about, because these ladies and gentlemen are prepared. They want to be prepared to help out around the community should anything like that happen. And when nothing's going on, it's a great way to make friends just by listening in and seeing who's around and who's talking. So something to really take a look at on that for everything. Want to mention this real quick, and this has been a big part of the story for today. This was a solar flare off the sun. There are classes of solar flares, and the biggest you can get is an X class, and that's what this was. The third and strongest solar flare to be emitted within the last 24 hours at the GOES, the satellite goes west, solar ultraviolet imager. This is the flare itself coming through here. Now, this is not a coronal mass ejection. That sends plasma out, superheated gas across the solar system, and it moves at about 1,000,000 miles an hour, but it takes hours and hours and hours. It takes several days to reach the Earth and affect our electromagnetic field. This is a pulse of just raw energy, and it reaches our planet, if it's directed that way, within minutes. So it moves at the speed of light, so 8 minutes plus from here to us. That is what hit our planet from earlier today. And what we were talking about was, again, a decent amount of energy coming on through to where what we saw was, let me see if I can put this into motion. Thanks to Dr. Tamitha Skov, solar scientist, for looking at this. The sun's, radio hits, the radio wave, the energy wave hits here, and then as you look as the energy hits, we really start seeing over here the amount of radio transmissions able to make their way through and over portions of the world really start getting toned down by just a little bit. And the energy from the sun making that talking around the world using radio waves to be a bit of a problem. So now the neat thing about this is that this was a very strong flare. There's no question about that. Space Weather Prediction Center has more on this, and again, how powerful these systems actually were on here. But here's the thing about what happened, and you can read more about this on my social media pages. Where we were looking at this, this is very fascinating here. Dr. Tamitha Skov retweeting this, and from Dr. Ryan French, British solar astrophysicist at the National Solar Observatory, posted about this. You may have had problems with your phone today because of the outages over several networks on different companies. There is a lot of confusion and a lot of conspiracy theories out there that this flare, the earlier one several hours ago, was what was responsible. Well, taking a look at Dr. French's information, flares can, quote, However, flares can only cause radio degradation on the day side time of the Earth. Again, the layers of the atmosphere are stacked up in various ways during the daytime. During the nighttime, those layers compress into one. So this hitting on this side of the planet did not cause the problems with communication over here. So the timing was very interesting. Yes, it was a very coincidental type things. They can cause a lot of problems. If you remember the Carrington event of 1859, somewhere in there, it is possible we can see problems in and around that area, but this flare was not responsible for the communications outage. So just putting that out there in case you have anybody who talks about that. Learn more this weekend at this Hamfest. It's a great opportunity to learn more on that. Please stop by. I'll do my best to get there, and hopefully we can bump into each other and say hi at some point in time. I think that ought to do it for tonight. We are on a little later because of Andrew Harrison's recording stuff for later on. So we have to take some time and go on after 10 o'clock, so we're on a little later. So we'll go ahead and sign off for this evening. Chip Chapman will have more on your forecast coming up bright and early tomorrow morning. And, of course, I'll have more on the forecast tomorrow evening. We'll take a look again at what's coming up into the weekend, so stay tuned for more on that. And, of course, this weekend, meteorologist Todd Heislip has details, so stay tuned for more on that. Live and direct from downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee at the WDEF News 12 studios, I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. Thanks for joining me for Thursday night, the 22nd of February. More coming up at our website, including a repeat show of this video, and also more details on your forecast. And, of course, join us on News 12 at 11 and Daybreak tomorrow morning for more information. Thanks for joining us. This has been Weather Overtime for Thursday, February 22nd.